Hey guys, welcome back to Maxyy's kitchen. My name is Maxlyn, and in today's recipe video I'm going to teach you guys how to make really good lasagna. Don't click off if you want the full recipe, okay? So on the next page is a list of all the ingredients that I used for this recipe. Take a screenshot of them and let's get started. So the very first thing you want to do is to finely chop your mirepoix, so your onion, celery and carrots. I wanted them to be very fine, so I actually used my chopper. So I just chopped it up and this is what I got, and we're going to use this to make the lasagna. So once that's done, you want to set that aside, and then I started making my base for my ragu. Now I used 500 grams of pork mince and 500 grams of beef mince, and I got a lot of ragu. Even after making my lasagna, I saved some in the freezer. If you want to make an amount that would be perfect for your lasagna, just use 250 grams of each. Or if you don't eat pork, just use 500 grams of beef mince. I hope that's clear. So you want to fry the mince one at a time. If you're using both, fry one at a time, and you want to make sure that all the moisture is drawn out and it starts to sizzle before you continue. I'll show you later. But at this point I was making my beef stock, so I just added one beef stock pot to this bowl, and then I added in some hot boiling water and then gave that a good mix. Now this is the moisture I was talking about. So the beef mince or pork mince is going to release so much water, and you want to make sure that all of that evaporates and then it starts to fry like this before you proceed. So after the pork was done sizzling, like I just showed you, I added in my beef mince, mixed that in, and also waited for all the water to evaporate and then for it to start sizzling. Okay, when it starts to sizzle, you would see that it would start to stick at the bottom of the pan. Once you're done browning your meat, it should be a bit dry, it shouldn't be too wet. What you want to do next is to add in your mirepoix, your mix of carrots, onion and celery. Give that a good mix. At this point, the only seasonings that you want to use is salt and black pepper. Okay, be generous because you're seasoning the meat. Once you've cooked that for a while, you're going to add in your dry red wine. I don't use any sweet wine to make my ragu sauce, so wine that's dry. You want to use that to deglaze the pan. So when you pour that into the pot, make sure that you're scraping all the flavors from the bottom of the pan and mixing that in. And after that, you want to add in your tomato paste and give that a good mix as well. After frying your tomato paste for a bit, you're going to add in your tomato passata or your canned tomatoes, and I added in about 600 milliliters of that. So you want to add that, rinse the bottle or the can, pour the contents inside the pot, and then just give that a really good mix. Right after you've mixed that up, you're going to add in the beef stock that we did. Give that a light mix as well, and then add in your bay leaves. After you've added in your bay leaves, you'd want to mix that as well, and then cover the pot. So you're going to cook this on medium heat for about 3 minutes, and just when it starts to boil, you reduce the heat to low heat, okay, and then let this cook slowly for about 3 hours 30 minutes to 4 hours. You want it to slow cook, and you want to check up on it intermittently, stirring to make sure that it doesn't burn. So this is what your ragu should look like after 4 hours. It should have reduced and should be packed with so much flavor. So you want to set that aside and then make the bechamel sauce. So we're going to make a roux base, which has equal parts of butter and flour. So if you're using 2 tablespoons of butter, you want to use 2 tablespoons of flour. Okay, so equal measures of both butter and flour. You melt up the butter in the pan, and then you're going to add in the flour once it's all melted up and give that a good mix. After you give it a good mix, you want it to cook for about 3 to 5 minutes to ensure that it doesn't have that raw flour taste before you add in your milk in bits while stirring. Now I switched up my wooden spoon to a whisk, Even though my whisk was metallic, I didn't like that I was using it in this pan, but I used it for a while and then switched it back to the wooden spoon. Now, a key ingredient or traditional ingredient in making bechamel sauce for lasagna is actually nutmeg. So don't miss that. You want to add in half a teaspoon of that. Give that a good mix, and then everything should thicken up, and then you can take it off the heat after that. Now let's prep our lasagna sheets, and then after we can start building the lasagna. So I have this large roasting tin. You can pretty much do this in any type of wide or open tin that you have or bowl. So what you want to do is put the lasagna sheets in this wide bowl and then pour some boiling hot water over the sheets, and let the sheets sit in the hot water for about 5 minutes or maybe less. Okay, you just want them to be malleable, to soften up a bit, and then you want to take them out. Now, you don't want to do all of your sheets at a go. Okay, you want to keep it at one layer and then take them out, do another layer. Okay, so I did that for all my sheets and they were ready. So I got this rectangular dish that I am actually going to make my lasagna in. The first thing you want to do is to line the base with some of that rich ragu that we made, and then you are going to put your first 3 sheets or maybe 4 or 3.5 if your pan requires you to do so. In the pan, you're going to cover the ragu with that and then add on some more ragu after the lasagna sheets are in. So after that, once you've put more ragu on the sheets, you want to add a little bit of mozzarella cheese. You don't need to do much because the bechamel sauce is going to give it that thickness and richness that we're looking for. So after the mozzarella cheese goes the bechamel sauce. Be generous, and then after that you're going to sprinkle some parmesan cheese on top, some grated parmesan cheese. Okay, that gives the lasagna a really nice flavor. You don't want to miss this. So after this, you're going to start again: lasagna sheets, ragu, bechamel sauce, mozzarella cheese, and then parmesan cheese. Okay, so you're just going to do it that way until you get to the top. So after your final layer, well, not so final because we're going to put bechamel sauce on top, but after doing the last layer like I've taught you to do, put 3 lasagna sheets on top of 4 if your pan requires you to do so, and finish off with the rest of the bechamel sauce. So you want to save enough of the bechamel sauce to do exactly what I'm doing now. Spread it all over the lasagna sheets on top, and then finish up with some extra parmesan cheese. So the parmesan cheese that you have left, just sprinkle that generously on the top, just like I've done, and it's ready to go into the oven. So I preheated my oven at 180 degrees Celsius, for a few minutes, and I'm going to pop this in for about 40 to 45 minutes to cook. And once it's done, I'm going to take it out, let it rest before we cut into it. So after 45 minutes, you want to take the lasagna out, but you don't want to cut into the lasagna immediately because it's going to lose its shape, and you just want to wait for it to rest a bit, cool down before you cut into it. Okay, so I made it rest for about 15 to 20 minutes, or you can do more if you want to be completely sure that it's not completely sure, but if you want that lasagna shape to hold, just give it some more time. So it had cooled down completely at this point, and that's why I was even able to hold the dish. I just served up a portion, and this was so good, guys. I'm telling you, it tasted so traditional. It had all the flavors in there, and I just realized that it was worth it, making that ragu from scratch and then letting it slow cook. It was absolutely amazing, and I really, really hope that you guys try this recipe and tell me about it when you do. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share this recipe with your loved ones. try to let me know when you do. Leave some comments for me in the comment section if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to help you, and stay blessed.